What is up, guys? I am super pumped to make this video today. This is going to be my 2024 gaming year in review, talking about all the games that I beat this year. A lot of these you may have seen videos for on the After the Credits series, which I launched this year, which I am very, very proud of. I really enjoy making those videos. I know that they're not the greatest things on the internet, but I like them, and I'm proud of myself for finally starting a project and sticking with it. And yeah, I'm looking for any reason I can to talk about these games more. So that's what today's video is all about. Just reminiscing on the year, reminiscing on the games we played, and finally giving a score to these games. It should be a lot of fun, but thank you guys so much for joining me. Let's dive into this. It's going to be a fun one. So before we get into the video, I just want to take a second to thank each and every one of you for all the support this year. It has gone way above my expectations, and I genuinely cannot express to you how much it means that 170 people hit the subscribe button. It's just ridiculous. I can't even fathom that. I mean, I don't even know 170 people, let alone having 170 people hit that button. So thank you so much for all the support. Yeah, all the loving comments, all the comments disagreeing with me. Love all that stuff. And hopefully on those comments you disagreed with me, I replied and gave you at least my side and a little bit more clarity. But everything, all the likes, everything, way beyond what I expected, and I couldn't have, obviously you guys are to thank for that. So thank you so much. Special shout out to my wife, Morgan. She's very, very supportive in everything that I do, even the dumb internet stuff that I do. So love her. Thank you for everything. Shout out to some friends real quick. Kaylin, met playing RuneScape, I think this year or last year. He's become one of my best internet buddies. JD's always been around the channel for the longest time, since like 2011. I've been making content a long time, if you didn't know that. Always been terrible, but that guy's always been supportive, so thank you, JD. Shout out to Larry and Jason, my good buddies that I've played games with for years. Shout out Clouds for being a part of the community for a very long time. Tattle and Tell, Mr. Brian, been a long time since we've chatted, but thank you for all the support. And everybody else is taking time out of their day to comment and just hang out. I really appreciate it. Here's my old lady. Here's the old Mogi. You want to say hi?
I'm gonna shout out.
I say, I did. I gave you one. Say hi. Get your face down here.
Barbie Explorer Retro Revisited.
Yeah, that's the first
My idea.
It was. It was your idea. That's gonna be the first one we talk about.
Cheeks. Worse. Do you have worse?
Cheeks is bad as it gets.
Cheeks is bad.
Cheeks is bad.
It's below cheeks, and cheeks wasn't the worst.
Anyways, let's get into the video. Thanks guys so much for all the support. Again, I can't thank you enough. It means the world. All right, so the first 4 games that you see down there, we didn't do After the Credits videos for because I didn't start the After the Credits series till a little later in the year. So I just threw these on here because I did beat these this year, and I'm not going to get another chance to talk about them. So I figured throw them in here for a little extra content. Make the video a little longer to end the year strong. So yeah, let's get into it. The first game we played this year was Barbie Explorer. Now, very interesting decision, and I bet you're wondering what the hell is going on there. So my wife had this game growing up, and she could never beat it, and she always wanted to know how the game ended, so she's been asking me to play through this game. So I tackled it at the very beginning of the year, and this game is not good, okay? It is a very stock standard kind of mascot platformer from the PS1 with horrendously clunky controls. There's a lot of times where you jump through platforms. It's like a really generic Tomb Raider if Tomb Raider was really, really bad. And then to add insult to injury, Barbie Explorer ended with the ending was sequel bait, essentially, prepping for Barbie Explorer 2, which is just absurd because I don't understand where they thought this was going to go, but they obviously had high expectations. I can't even imagine young girls, young kids getting through this game. It was hard. It was towards the end of the game, it was a nightmare. I was getting fucking angry while I was playing this game. So yeah, that being said, this game, the first game of the year, is going straight into cheeks. I don't think this is worth playing at all for any reason ever. It is just trash the whole way through. Not enjoyable. Not worth your time. Do not play Barbie Explorer. That game cheeks for a reason. Just go watch the live stream. It's bad. The next game here on the list is, this is actually Dark Souls 3. This was a live stream challenge run that I did. We did a bandit knife only challenge run right after we beat Barbie Explorer. So we're not going to do the tier list based on the challenge run. We're going to do it based on the game itself. I've beaten Dark Souls 3 multiple times. I think it's one of the best Souls-like games ever to be created. I think the combat is fantastic. I think the challenge is good. It's my first Souls game that I actually played all the way through, and I've played through it multiple times. And if I play through a game multiple times, it's truly a game that I think is special. You know, the gameplay is fluid. The boss fights are incredible. There's some bastard bosses in there. I think Pontiff Sullivan is the hardest boss in the game, and he is a nightmare. On the first playthrough, that guy sucked. But all in all, I think Dark Souls 3 is an absolute masterpiece. One of the greatest Souls games of all time. Haven't played a lot, but damn, it's a fantastic game that I recommend every single person play through, because it'll open a whole new genre. I think you just have to get through your first Souls game to really open your mind to the games in general, because they are hard to approach from the outside looking in, with everybody always commenting on how difficult they are. But I think all it takes is one playthrough of a game, and then you're just going to find yourself hooked. At least that's what happened for me. And Dark Souls 3 was the catalyst to that. So with that being said, very glowing review for this. This is going to be an S tier game. I think Dark Souls 3 is a game everybody should play. I think it's absolutely incredible, and I highly, highly, highly recommend it. Now, directly after beating the Dark Souls 3 run that we did, we jumped into Lies of P. I cannot say enough good things about Lies of P. I think Lies of P might be my all-time favorite game ever, to be honest. I love the combat. I love the parry system once you get the hang of it. I love the weapons in the game. I love the ability to switch blades on different handles. I think all the bosses are just awesome and incredible. And man, when you get the parry timing right for some of these bosses, you just feel like an absolute god. Oh my god. It is the best combat I've ever played. The game all the way through is engaging and gripping. One of the other things I absolutely love about Lies of P is the story is all actually contained in the game itself, so you don't have to read through a bunch of item descriptions to understand what's going on. And like I said, front to back, this game had me gripped and entertained the whole way through, and it is one of my all-time favorite video games to ever be created. So obviously there's not any real discussion here that needs to happen. This is also an S tier game, probably the S tier of S tier games. I'm going to put it at the very top of the list. This is as close to a 10 out of 10 masterpiece that I could think of. I love Lies of P. I cannot wait for the next playthrough. I can't wait for any DLC that they come out with. One of my favorite games of all time. Highly, highly recommend you play through Lies of P. It is phenomenal. There's not one thing I can think of that I would change in that game, which is so rare. So, had a hot streak there, playing one of my favorite games of all time, Dark Souls 3, and then jumping into Lies of P, which became maybe my all-time favorite game I've ever played. All right, I was on a Souls streak, if you couldn't tell. The next game we played through and beat was Bloodborne. This is a game that gets talked about a lot in the community. People absolutely love Bloodborne. The aesthetic is incredible, and it's a fantastic game. I love the trick weapon system. I think you're crazy if you don't play through the game with the saw cleaver. The saw cleaver is by far and away the best weapon in the game. But yeah, this is a fucking awesome game. The boss fights are incredible. This is like, these three games that we just talked about are top of class. So it's really kind of sounding a little repetitive as we talk about these games, just because they're very similar. They're all kind of Souls-likes. It's all about bosses, all about the combat. These games excel in those departments massively. I will say a couple negatives about Bloodborne. This is very similar. Bloodborne has a healing system very similar to the early, well, Demon Souls, essentially, where you have to collect blood vials to heal. So you don't have a refillable Estus flask. So you have to spend quite a bit of time, at least I did, have to spend quite a bit of time going through the first world to collect blood vials so I could stack up to keep progressing through the game, which did kind of suck. That's probably my fault because I'm not that good at the game, clearly, but that was a little bit of a negative. Other than that, having to do some grinding that I had to do, this was a fantastic playthrough. But because I did have some struggles having to backtrack and things like that, I'm going to go ahead and put Bloodborne in the A tier. I think it's probably the very high end. We're talking at that 9 range. Very close to crossing into S tier, but I don't think it's quite as good as Lies of P or Dark Souls 3, even though it is a fantastic game and I would highly recommend it. You can get it on PS5 and the game is always pretty cheap and it's a great playthrough. So, love Bloodborne, just not going to get into the top spot. All right, the next game we got on the list was the very first episode of After the Credits. If you guys watched that one, very much appreciate it. That was a weird video, man. I wasn't really sure what I was doing. Didn't know what the series was even going to be called. Just kind of rambled for 30 minutes about a Returnal that I just beat. But Returnal is a fantastic game. Very difficult at the beginning. There's a lot of people that have problems getting past the first boss. But yeah, it was a fucking awesome game. Very, very fun. Very challenging. One of the most challenging games I've played. Just not a game I'm really used to. It's third-person shooter, roguelike. That you go in, you have to kind of get the best weapons that you can for the run and try to clear through the area. There's 6 worlds. It's a pretty long game, at least for your first playthrough when you're not really sure what you're doing, trying to learn the ins and outs of the game. But all in all, the music in this game is top-notch, absolutely top-notch. The combat is great. I never really got used to the alt fire in this game for some reason. I just thought it was weird that you had to pull the trigger down halfway to aim and then all the way down to use your alt fire. For some reason, my brain just couldn't comprehend that all the way. But all in all, I think Returnal is a fantastic game, a great PS5 exclusive, was exclusive. Now you can play it on PC. And I've watched some speedruns of this game, and people are just absolutely crazy good at it. But all in all, I think the game was very, 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 very good. Another game I would recommend anybody play. I think it's a great time. And there's not much else I can say. If you want to know more, I'll leave a card at the top of the video. Probably put it on this side. This side? This side. I'll put a card up for the After the Credits so you can watch the 34-minute video talking about the game. But I'm going to go ahead and put it in A tier. I think it's a great game. It's going to be on the 8, probably an 8. I would give it an 8 out of 10. It's just not, I mean, it's great all the way through, just not really a masterpiece in my opinion, but still worth a playthrough without a question. All right, then after we beat Returnal, we moved on to Dredge. This was a game I heard a lot about. People love this game. A nice little indie game, more of a relaxing experience. And yeah, that's exactly what I got out of it. I thought it was a pretty fun game. I actually was a little bored playing through it, if I remember, correctly. As you know, it's been a few months since I played it. Don't really remember a whole lot about the story or what happened. I did beat the game in 2 days. I really plowed through it. But I know that the music is great. Very fitting for the aesthetic they're going for. But all in all, it's a lot of kind of QTE fish catching stuff. And pretty repetitive gameplay, but it is an indie game, where you don't really expect a crazy good experience out of this, but it is a fun little playthrough to do. I would just recommend playing it in segments as opposed to just absolutely no-lifing it for 2 days. I think you'd get a better experience if you broke it up and just played a couple hours a night to finish the game. But other than that, I think it's a very decent game. Not a game I ever plan on going back to replay, but it was still a nice little change of pace from all the difficult games I played before it. That being said, though, I'm going to put this in B tier. Any game that I wouldn't consider a second playthrough of, I don't think I can put above A. So B tier for Dredge. I think it's a pretty average game. Then we move on to Black Myth Wukong. Most definitely my most controversial opinion of the year. For those of you that watched the After the Credits video for Black Myth, I did not like Black Myth Wukong. I'll be the first to tell you. Just didn't like it. I did not enjoy the combat in this game. I had a lot of performance issues and memory leaks, frame drops on PS5 when I was playing through it. The end of the game is crushingly difficult, to the point that the final boss of the game. When I beat it, I didn't even get relief from beating the final boss and beating the game. I was just happy it was over because I was so tired of this game. And I know that's a me thing. People love this game. People were voting. This game won Player's Choice the Game Awards. So clearly I missed something in my playthrough with this game, but ultimately I didn't like it. Obviously the graphics are great. The game runs on Unreal 5. It looks beautiful. The music in this game is great. But man, there were so many issues. I had to spend time like cheesing experience at one point because I felt I was underleveled. So I had to like go into this little cave and use this ability to blow up these cocoons to get experience. It was just bad the whole way through for me. It was a struggle playthrough. Very hard for me to get through this game. Maybe I just pushed it too hard. I think if I wasn't trying to get to the end of the game for the ATC series, this is probably a game I would have dropped and not played all the way through. But yeah, I just didn't like it. But it's not a horrendously bad game, but for me, it didn't hit right. Just didn't like the combat, like I said before. There's more details in the after the credits video if you want to go check that out. That was definitely my most hated video of the year. Got a lot of negative comments on that one because people love it. I didn't. But hey, opinions are like assholes. We all have them, and I did not like Wukong. That being said, I'm gonna put this in C. Again, I think I would play Dredge again over touching Black Myth again. I just didn't like it. I just don't see myself ever even considering playing it again, especially what the end of that game serves up to you. It's just not my favorite. If you love it, fantastic. I don't want to yuck your yum by any means, but for me, wasn't a fan, and we'll never touch it again. But there's Black Myth Wukong. After Black Myth, I was burnt the fuck out because that game was hard as shit, so I decided to do something a little different, and I moved on to Ghost of Tsushima. This was my highest viewed video of the year, so thank you guys so much for watching it. Got over 700 views, I believe, which was absolutely bonkers. I've not even come close to that since, but I absolutely loved Ghost of Tsushima. The story was gripping, the music's gripping. I still think it's one of the best looking games you can buy today with the wind and the grass and just the way that the whole thing plays out. I think the combat is a little repetitive. It's essentially like an Assassin's Creed game done better. It really is. That's the analogy my buddy Jason made when he was watching me play through it, and he actually played a little bit of it himself. But combat is a little repetitive. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more like decapitations and stuff like that throughout the playthrough, just because I want my sword to feel sharp. It was a comment that I made in my overall discussion of the game. But honestly, it's a absolute fantastic game. Very long, but very gripping all the way through. I did every side mission, and you know, I almost 100% of the game. So one of the greatest of all time. I'm gonna put it in A tier. I think it's gonna be on the 9 side of A tier, very close to crossing into the S tier. I did use Masterpiece when talking about it, but the thing is, I want to reserve the top of the board for games that I know I can go back to and play again. I just don't see myself playing Ghost of Tsushima again, but that first playthrough was fantastic, and it's a memorable playthrough, and the ending of that game is not going to be something I forget anytime soon. I just don't know if I'm going to put in another 60 hours to get back to the end of the game again. So, very excited for Ghost of Yotei. I can't wait for that to come out to get some more Ghost of Tsushima feels in my gaming loins. I don't know what the fuck I'm even saying, but I loved it. I just don't see myself replaying it, but it's a very memorable game that I will not forget for a very long time. So on the higher end of A for sure. Fantastic. Definitely play through it. Then we moved on to Astrobot. This game had me smiling from ear to ear all the way through. What an absolutely fantastic game. I even had on my thumbnail, Game of the Year, seriously. And it ended up being Game of the Year at the Game Awards, and it was deserving. It was a fantastic game, absolutely enjoyable from front to back, collecting all of the bots related to Sony IPs, just was brought back waves of nostalgia. Very good gameplay. I wish there was a sprint button in the game, which is just a minor thing, but Astrobot's awesome. The challenge levels were my favorite levels in the game. The platforming in this game is fantastic. I love the little special abilities, except the monkey. Fuck the monkey suit. Other than that, though, this game is incredible. Absolutely awesome. Very, very awesome game, but it's going to fall into the A category as well, right by Ghost of Tsushima, on the probably on the 9 side, on the higher end of A. For the same reason, I don't see myself playing through every level, doing everything again, and getting it all. But it was a fantastic time when I did play through it. So another highly, highly recommended game from me. If you're looking for a nice, fun little platformer, this is the one to go with for sure. Absolutely great. Buckshot Roulette, weird one. Very weird one here. This is a game made by one developer that you can beat in 20 minutes by defeating the dealer. It's essentially Russian roulette with a shotgun against one guy. You kind of have to use your memory skills to figure out if it's a blank round or a live round, and there's a lot of little modifiers that you get. But all in all, it's a pretty short experience, does really well in short form content, does really well on like TikTok Live and stuff like that, and for some reason I saw someone play it and decided I wanted to play it too, so I got it, but it's not anything super, super special. It's literally one thing. I think they added multiplayer, which is pretty cool, but you know, it is what it is. That's the definition of it. It is what it is. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in B, on the lower side, probably around a 6, just because I think it's good, especially really cool for one developer to make it. There's just not a lot of substance here, so it's hard to put it any higher than that, just because the game is what it is, literally, and I don't know much else to say about it. The video is super short too. It's like 5 minutes. So yeah, just a very interesting project, and I'm glad I supported the developer, but can't really put it any higher than B. I think B might even be generous, but I think the game is cool, and shout out to that dude for making the game. Next up was October. We did Resident Evil 4, highly recommended to me by my buddy Kalen, who we mentioned at the beginning of the video. He recommended this one to me, and I had a great time with this game. Thought it was a lot of fun. Played through it. It was nice. This is a game that everybody always talks about as well as being one of the greatest Resident Evils of all time, and I tend to agree. I haven't played any of the other ones, but this game was a lot of fun. Good mix between horror and action. You know, I really, the aiming system, hard to adjust to as a modern gamer, but it grew on me towards the end. And I had a general good time. I think the story is very, very good in this game. Music's good. Sound design is fantastic as well. It's a great game. I would highly, highly recommend it. That being said, not a masterpiece for me. I'm going to go ahead and put it in A tier, probably on the 8 side of A tier. I did enjoy it. Don't know if I'll play it again, but still, I'm really happy that I did play through it and had a lot of fun with it. Now we're on to Black Ops 6. Black Ops 6 initially was very high on the game, thought it was very, very good. And a couple weeks later, I released a rant video on the game. I'll be completely honest and completely transparent. That's what I do. I've still been playing Black Ops 6. So clearly the bullshit hasn't stopped me from playing it. It's still my go-to game when I have like 30 minutes to play games. I'm just going to jump in a couple COD matches. So, yeah, I think from a corporate greed perspective, this game is absolutely terrible with engagement optimized matchmaking and the server issues for a game that should not have server issues. It should have the top of the line servers, and this game still has lag issues and disconnect issues and things of that. But the skeleton in this game is fantastic. The game feel is the best COD has ever felt, in my opinion. Yeah, man, all the fucking FOMO shit that they put in the game, all the engagement optimized matchmaking stuff that's worse than skill-based matchmaking that they have in this game, that stuff's all gonna drag it down. And you know, I can't in good conscience, even though the game itself at its base is the best COD that there has ever been, I can't in good conscience put it above A, because it is very, very, very shitty in all of the corporatized shit that they put in this game. I still play it. I will not lie to you. I still play it. I still have fun with it. But jeez, I don't think I'm gonna be buying the next COD. That's for sure, based on what I've experienced in Black Ops 6 and what they're trying to do. It's terrible. It's ruining gaming. The shit that they have in this game, all the FOMO events, all the every time you log in, you get a pop-up for a new fucking pack that you don't want to buy. All that stuff. Very, very bad, but the game itself is actually good. If I didn't like the game, I would probably put it in cheeks just on pure concept of the game being horrible from a consumer perspective. But unfortunately, I do like the game still. So with that being said, I'm going to put it in B tier on the 7 side, close to A, but I can't go into A in good conscience with all the decisions they made at the corporate level. So that's my discussion on Black Ops 6. And I've been playing more zombies lately, which has been pretty fun as well. All right, getting down to the wire here. Demon Souls we beat right after Black Ops 6. Demon Souls was a very fun game to visit, but to see where the Souls series started. But that being said, it's old and it doesn't age that well. The remake looks beautiful, but the having to grind for Crescent Moongrass to be able to heal, and it's kind of the same situation as Bloodborne. You got to spend a lot of time grinding to get healing. At least I did. I'm not that good at the game, so I kind of blow through healing. Yeah, other than that, game's handles well. I think it plays very well. The game feels great. Music is great. The boss design is interesting. I like most of the bosses. Shout out Penetrator. I think the Penetrator is the best boss in Demon Souls by a long shot, and the last boss in the game. But there's a lot of gimmick bosses in the game too, which aren't my favorite. So with all that put together, I think Demon Souls is going to sit comfortably in B on the 7 side, on the higher side of B. Not a game I'm going to go back to, but I'm still happy that I played through and beat it to kind of see where the legendary Souls series began. So happy I did it. Don't plan on going back. All right, 2 to go. Stellar Blade was after Demon Souls, and I loved Stellar Blade. Loved it. I thought it was incredible. I think it should have got the Game of the Year nominee nod over Black Myth Wukong. I think it's better in every aspect. The music is all time, in my opinion. I mentioned it in the After the Credits video that if Final Fantasy VII Rebirth didn't come out this year with 400 songs, I think Stellar Blade would have taken soundtrack of the year. It's fantastic soundtrack. The boss fights music is great, and then the campsite music is really chill and very good sound design. This feels like an action game. It's got great skills. The combos feel really good. It does everything Wukong should have done, way better. So I'm a big fan of Stellar Blade. Absolutely love it. I'm gonna put it in A, on the high side of A, definitely on the 9 side. This is a game I absolutely love, despite all the criticism about Eve being an attractive woman. Get that shit out of here. Who cares? Who doesn't want to play as an attractive woman? Okay, I definitely do, and I loved this game, and I would recommend this game. If you're looking for an action game similar to DMC that's got great visuals, great soundtrack, great story, great everything, this is the one I would recommend. I absolutely loved Stellar Blade, so check it out if you've been hesitant. I think it's fantastic, and I think you'd like it. All right, Little Nutmegs joining me for the last one. The last game we played this year was Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus. Sly is one of my wife's favorite franchises. She loves Sly 2. Never played Sly 1, but I wanted to start at the beginning, so I played Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus. It was a very quick playthrough, but a lot of the things that we talked about with Demon Souls are going to apply for Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus as well. It's the start of a franchise, PS2 mascot platformer era game. Very basic combat, just one attack, basically. More platforming than combat in this game. Nothing super special, nothing crazy to write home about. I'm excited to get into Sly 2. That's a fan favorite for sure, so I'm very excited to jump into... Whoa, come on, baby. Very excited to jump into Sly 2. But as far as the original game, the first game, it's pretty mid. Very mid. With it being mid, can't go above a 5. I think that the original Sly, right middle of the line, borderline game, better than Black Myth Wukong, because fuck Black Myth Wukong. But definitely a game. Looking forward to the sequel next year for 2025. That's going to be the first game we beat, I believe. So look forward to Sly Cooper after the credits review early January. But yeah, that's it. That's going to do it for the tier list. Here it is. In our S tier, our top games of the year, Lies of P and Dark Souls 3. Two of the best games of all time, in my opinion, without a doubt. Right below them in the A tier, we got Bloodborne, we got Returnal, we got Ghost of Tsushima, we got Astro Bot, Resident Evil 4, and Stellar Blade. Those are all games I would recommend as well. So S and A tier, those are safe recommendations. Those are games I think if you're interested in them in any way, shape, or form, definitely play them. They're very, very good. In the B tier, these are the games I would probably not recommend, or if I would recommend, it'd be a very specific use case. Dredge, Buckshot Roulette, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, and Demon Souls. And then in the C tier, which is just basically there to be right above the Cheeks tier, Sly Cooper, the original Sly and the Thievius Raccoonus, and Black Myth Wukong. Don't like Black Myth Wukong. Still don't like it. So, sue me, but I still do not like that game. And then D tier, in the Cheeks tier, the games you should absolutely not play at all for any particular reason, no matter what the circumstances are. We have Barbie Explorer. So that's it. Thanks so much for watching. Again, thank you for the support this year. I hope we can only continue to grow in 2025. But I hope you guys had a fantastic 2024. Leave me comments down below on your favorite games of the year. I would love to hear it. Even if it is the shitter game, Black Myth Wukong, I would still love to hear if you enjoyed that game. But other than that, love you all. Thank you so much for all the support. And we will see you in 2025 for some more content. Can't wait. And we'll see you then. Take it easy, guys.